International, Leslie Osborne. And Leslie, for the United States, 4 matches remain for 2017. It has been a busy year. We've seen new faces, younger players, experimentation. We're 1 year out from World Cup qualifying. How close is Jill Ellis to finding her core group?
Very close. She talked about this being an experimental phase, and yes, she has. She's brought in more than 50 players from the Olympics. She's given 12 players their first cap. She has evaluated the NWSL and all their performances. She's given big moments to young players in huge games. So she's evaluated all these players. And she's also knows that there's going to be injuries happening. So there's going to be new faces. And also, depending on NWSL performance, we're going to see new players come in. And there's also a few positions up for grabs, that outside back position. And what about the chemistry in the midfield? Who is playing best together? And also strikers up top. What does that chemistry look like? So she's still evaluating partnerships and chemistry as well.
You mentioned those 12 new faces with their first cap. So who, Leslie, has stood out to you among those new faces?
I would say Abby Dahlkemper and Sam Ewis. Boy, have they grown this year. Sam Ewis especially has played every minute and every game this year in huge games. I told both of them how lucky they are to get that kind of experience playing against the top teams in the world. This is not a typical off year for the U.S. Women's National Team. To play against this sort of level and to see those players grow and to perform in big moments is only going to provide value going into the 2019 World Cup.
And we're already seeing the confidence from them as well. But for more on the matchup, let's send it upstairs to the two calling the action, JP Delacamera and Allie Wagner.
Thank you, Jenny. Well, the last time we saw the U.S. Women's National Team play, Allie, was against New Zealand. How different is tonight's opponent, South Korea?
Entirely different proposition for the U.S. I mean, when you think about that New Zealand team, it was a team that could battle and match the U.S. team physically, but that was about it. With the South Korean side, that's not their strength. The strength of the South Korean team is their ability to solve pressure, to connect passes, to possess the ball. And when they do that, they get numbers around the ball. And this is where it intrigues me with the U.S. team. Can the U.S. team solve the pressure that South Korea is going to put them on? Because they're going to swarm the ball. So for the U.S., can they play in those tight spaces, and then can they recognize the areas that are given to them by South Korea, those spaces that are going to be there? Because trust me, they're going to be there, in particular between the midfield and the back line. Can they find it? Can they recognize it? And then can they execute?
And who for the U.S. do you expect to step it up tonight?
Well, I want to go and start at the back of the field with Alyssa Nair in goal. We've talked all year long last year about who's going to take the role of Hope Solo, and I don't know that any goalkeeper has been flawless. In midfield, I think continuing to see Julie Ertz assert herself, seeing what she did with Chicago, getting into that defensive midfielder role, and then in particular Mallory Pugh is someone that I've got my eye on. We've talked about her having the ability to be exceptional. Now it's about bringing consistency within the game, and you see her there on the right flank. But one thing Jill Ellis has talked about to us is the partnerships. Leslie talked about it, and in particular Becky Sauerbrunn, Abby Dahlkemper. Can they continue to grow that? And then you'll see number 6 in midfield, Andy Sullivan, getting her return start after she tore her ACL. How does she find her form? And then up top, Alex Morgan could have a big night tonight against the South Korean back line.
And here is South Korea's starting 11.
Yeah, and Young Duk Yao said he was going to bring a younger, more transitional team, and that's been in fact the case. Park Cho-rong, in fact, on that left back position is getting her first cap, her first start. Same thing with Han Chae-rin on that left wing. They're going to be more of a 4-5-1, but the strength of this team comes in the center of the park, and in particular, number 10, Ji So-yeon. She's the only one who plies her trade abroad. She plays with Chelsea, and in fact, a teammate of Crystal Dunn.
Well, with the exception of a couple of games earlier this season, the USA defense has been rock solid. The leader at the back is Becky Sauerbrunn. When we come back, she joins Jenny and Leslie.
Welcome back to the pregame show sponsored by AT&T as we get set for an international friendly between the United States and South Korea. And we are about to chat with Captain Becky Sauerbrunn. She's making her way over to us right now. Might as well get her during warm-ups. And Leslie, she has been so consistent for this team. How good has she been?
She is the foundation of this team. She's been the leader both verbally but also on the field. She's been on this team for so long. She's played in so many World Cups and Olympics, and she's had no major injuries. So she has been the foundation, and to have your captain be back there and have this much experience only brings confidence to the rest of her team.
Hey, Becky, thank you for joining us. I appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
I love to get you guys right in the mix of it. And there's so much to talk about in terms of your matchup, your team tonight. But I want to ask about the men, because for all of us, it was devastating. the men not qualifying for the World Cup. What was the reaction from your group?
I mean, we hurt for them. They've had some really iconic World Cup performances that have been really inspiring to us. So as a group, we're really sad. We're sad for the fans that aren't going to get to watch them next summer in Russia. So it's also a good reminder, like at this level, nothing is ever given. You have to earn everything.
And in terms of this team, 4 games remaining in 2017. We've seen new faces, we've seen experimentation. Are you pleased with where the group is at in terms of World Cup qualifying, which is a year away?
Yeah, I mean, we're very much a work in progress right now. We've tried a lot of new formations, we've tried a lot of people. So are we where we want to be? If I say in 2018, I'd say we have a lot of areas that we need to improve on, but I think it takes time, and so we're going to stumble, and you've seen that this year, but I think we're trying things, and when you stumble a little bit, you learn, and right now we just need to learn.
Most of you are coming off of an NWSL season. How did the season go for you personally, and how have you seen the growth of the NWSL over the last few years?
Personally, with FC Kansas City, we had our ups and downs. I don't think the season was quite long enough. We found our stride near the end, but it wasn't enough to quite make it. But as far as the NWSL growing, I think it's been unbelievable. Having a national broadcast sponsor in Lifetime, the creation of NWSL, one of the best backlines I think I've ever played with and ever seen. So it's funny. Sometimes it takes time, and sometimes you just find the right person and it just fits. So I'm not nervous at all. I'm really excited for the players that we have. They're world class.
All right. Thank you so much, Becky. It's always so nice to get you, especially in this moment.
Yeah,
and
a little sweaty.
We're going to let you go back, get prepared, but thank you for joining us.
All right, thank you very much, guys.
Tonight. All right, when we come back, we talked a little bit about the NWSL already, but let's hear from Allie Wagner about that final. She was calling all the action. We'll be back. That's all coming up next.
Coke Zero is now Coke Zero Sugar, with great Coke taste. Some people were excited to hear the news, some were skeptical. So we're not gonna have the star of the show you're watching come out and say, "You'll love it." No special jingle written by this week's hottest pop star. No famous internet celebs who happen to be holding the label just so. Okay, maybe just one little pour shot. The only thing that will make you believe Coke Zero Sugar has great Coke taste is trying it yourself. Ice cold Coke Zero Sugar. Try one today.
Welcome back to the U.S. Women's National Team coming up, but first, the NWSL season wrapped up last Saturday with the Portland Thorns winning their second title in a 1-0 victory over the North Carolina Courage. They had their chances, but Lindsey Horan was the difference maker, scoring in the 50th minute. And it is always fun to see that action, especially in that final. And Leslie Osborne, I want to get your take on the season, but more specifically on that final. What did you make of the performance?
Well, it wasn't pretty soccer, but sometimes that's the way finals can be. And both these teams are very possession-oriented teams, and they both came out so physical. And when Taylor Smith went down for Carolina so early on, it changed the game plan. And neither team found a rhythm or a tempo all the first half. Second half, it got better, but both teams really struggled, and they looked tired out there. And that's normal. It's a long season, but you could just tell there wasn't that buzz and there wasn't that momentum that we were looking for.
Well, what does Allie Wagner have to say about the match and really about the season? Allie, you were calling the action all season and at the final. What did you make of the year and the progress you've seen in the NWSL?
You know, I think one thing that struck me when I was calling that final, I looked down on the field and I looked at that North Carolina team, was how those players got to this U.S. team through their NWSL performances. Whether it be Sam Ewis, who only had 2 caps before she got into the Pro League, whether it be Abby Dahlkemper, Taylor Smith, who should have been out here but got injured in that final, Lynn Williams, and perhaps even a McCall Zerboni, who should get a call-up. All of those players got their place in this U.S. team, or their chances with the U.S. team, through their performance with the NWSL. And we can talk about how great the league is and how it is necessary for the young players in our country. But that was one of the most poignant things that struck me. It's a great thing for this U.S. team because it's an opportunity for them to find their mojo and prove to Jill Ellis they belong here.
Well, we are getting closer and closer to the action between the U.S. and South Korea. When we come back, our final thoughts before kick. Stay with us. Welcome back to the Big Easy, the pregame show sponsored by AT&T. Well, Leslie, we're minutes away from the action. What is the story in terms of what the United States needs to do tonight to have success against South Korea?
Well, Becky mentioned it too, but we have to learn from the U.S. men's national team and take advantage of every opportunity and opponent they play leading into the World Cup. And South Korea is going to provide a different type of style team that they've faced. Recently playing New Zealand and Australia with big physical players. This is going to be a compact, technical team, tight in small spaces and good in small spaces. So again, this is another tactical system for the U.S. to play and only help them moving forward in 2019.
All right, we're minutes away, and when we return, JP, Delacamera, Allie Wagner, they've got the call. We will see you at halftime.
Welcome back, everyone, to the Superdome in New Orleans, Louisiana. The last time we were here a couple of years ago was the final game for Abby Wambach, and the team lost that game to China. USA versus South Korea. The teams are coming out of the tunnel.
Ladies and gentlemen, please rise and remove your hats for the playing of the national anthem of Korea Republic. Now, ladies and gentlemen, please remain standing and welcome singer-songwriter Corinne Hawthorne to perform the Star-Spangled Banner.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we held at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the that our flag was still there. Oh, who saved us that star-spangled banner yet waved o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave.
This will be the 10th all-time meeting between these two sides, all the games having been played in the United States. USA has never lost to South Korea. The only draws came in 2015 at Red Bull Arena and also in 2008. Both of those games were 0-0 results. Let's go downstairs. Jenny Tafter standing by with USA head coach Jill Ellis. Jenny?
Well, Jill, through this period of evaluation, you've been playing with 3 forwards. Can you tell me a little bit about that group and what you expect to see from them tonight?
Well, it's an extremely talented group, and I think we're pretty deep at the position. We've obviously got 6 in, and obviously Tobin's not here, but I mean, they just have such variety. 1v1, get behind the line, they're good in the air, they can facilitate and they can finish. So I just think it's a really strong group of players.
Thanks so much. Best of luck. Thank you.
On the opposite side, Yoon Duk Yao has been their head coach since 2013. He's a former professional player, played at the 1990 World Cup in Italy for South Korea, had 31 caps in his career. Christina Unkel, who was the referee in a previous match that we did against New Zealand, is also the one in charge of this one. USA versus South Korea. First of 2 games with South Korea. They'll play again on Sunday in Cary, North Carolina. Kelly O'Hara, something happened to her in the pregame. Thought maybe she was picking up an injury there. Let's take a look.
Yeah, that knee wasn't taped when she came out for warm-ups, but it's taped now. And just to
Right
look
there.
at, yep. Ball gets played by Short. O'Hara on the wrong side of it, but she's taped up, ready to go. Someone that's been more versatile and seen almost a new rebirth under Jill Ellis this year.
Remember, she used to play as an attacking player in college. Now she can play really comfortably on either side of that back line. The question, though, will be where, because we've seen her both right back and left back. It may depend on what Jill's solution is for the other side.
And that's always a quandary as a player. You want to own a position, but you also bring that versatility piece, and that is something that every coach wants on their World Cup roster.
Getting ready for action. USA will be in red. South Korea will be in white. South Koreans had to deal with 20 hours in the air in terms of getting over here to play in this country. A few days of training. They're dealing with the time difference as well. We'll see how they are in their first of 2 games against the United States.
And they made it clear to us yesterday in training that it wasn't just about the scoreline tonight. It was going to be about whether or not they could produce the performances they anticipated against this U.S. team.
Alex Morgan is over the ball, waiting for the... 17 is Jung So-gi. Their 31st international appearance. Played in the 2017 Cyprus Cup, as did a lot of these players for South Korea. They finished 2nd in the tournament, losing in the final to Switzerland. They've not played since April, Ali, so you wonder, will rust show early?
Well, they haven't played as a national team since April. They've been playing in their WK League, and so they're going to be on top of the things in terms of touch, you would think, but chemistry-wise, that's something to keep an eye on.
Yu Younga on that far side. Ball was turned over. U.S. will collect. They try to go long. It's deflected out of play for a throw-in.
And even in particular, JP, that you have 2 players getting their first caps on that left side. It's something the U.S. has to be aware of. See how ready they are for this intense matchup.
Collected by the captain, Cho So-young, pushing it to the back line. And lost out of play on this near side by Che Yuri. Be a throw-in for Casey Short. One of 5 players on this U.S. squad named to the NWSL Best 11. Becky Sauerbrunn made it for the 5th consecutive time. No other player can make that claim in the NWSL. A chip right there. Andy Sullivan drawing it.
And her first action of the day. Nice to see her back from that ACL injury. Splits 2 defenders, gets taken out from behind there by Lee Min-ah.
Says she feels 100%, but still trying to get really match fit in terms of the speed of play. Rapinoe's over the ball. From about 35 yards or so away. Sends a curling ball in, almost bounced in front. Rapinoe has another go at it. Kept it on the deck. Sullivan fires, and that's a bit high. But a nice bit of instinct from Andy Sullivan.
And a nice piece of confidence there. I mean, just to get herself faced and have a go on frame. Well, off frame, in fact, but she takes this chance. Rapinoe with the awareness just to play this simple little ball. I mean, she beats 3 players with that entry pass. Sullivan's falling away from that one. But already a good start from her. I mean, confidence to take that shot at the edge of the box.
Where does she fit in this very crowded midfield?
Look, all these positions are there for the taking for any of these players, and I think it's a matter of where she proves her worth the most. Right now, she's sitting in that 8. She likes to play both sides of the ball, but she's very capable as a 6. If Julie Ertz keeps owning that position, then you would think Sullivan would be an 8. But there's so many other players, JP, that we're not even getting the start today, whether it be a Lindsey Horan, a Morgan Bryan that's still out there. Carly Lloyd, I mean, they are deep in the center of midfield, and now it's about players stepping up and saying, this is my spot.
Ball played all the way back to Alyssa Nair, making her 8th consecutive start in goal. It's picked off. Intended for Lee Mina. She won't be able to get to that ball. Cleared up field to the halfway line where 2 players collide, and the foul goes against Alex Morgan for taking down Shin Dam-young.
Just a direct serve out of the back. Looks like Alex Morgan gets the first touch, and then that second one is when she pulls down the center back.
Shin Dam-young will play it to the left side. Park Cho-ron. Only a couple of touches there for South Korea. They turn the ball right back to the USA. Nair gave it away quickly on that far side. Ji So-yeon keeping it on the deck. Nowhere to go. Park Cho-ron. She'll still get another touch and try to push it wider on that left side. The U.S. should have that covered. Last touch by South Korea. USA's ball.
But that's a good look at the way South Korea can play. I mean, Lee Min-ah was the one who spun out of pressure there and kept possession for a team. And then you saw when they turned it over, they pressed in. They want to win the ball back as high on the field as possible. South Korea, that is.
Using this as a big test for their team. Their coach, Yoon Duk-yeol, was talking about that yesterday. Lessons learned when you play the #1 team in the world.
I mean, there's a lot of experience that can be had after a match like this. One of the things that is interesting when you think about the way South Korea, and that's Yoon Duk-yeol there, and the way they're going to go about this match today is they don't want to get in those 50-50 challenges because the U.S. is stronger, more physical than they are, so they want to move the ball quicker and avoid those contact areas.
Abidal Kemper named NWSL Defender of the Year earlier today. Ball pushed ahead towards Morgan, cleared away. Inside the circle, it was won by Ertz. South Korea tried to get it back. That was Jong Sol-gi, but she could not. Ertz back on the ball. 3 goals in her last 4 games for Julie Ertz. Her 3rd straight start, though, in that holding midfielder position after playing most of her national team career as a center back. Taken away inside the circle, and here's the U.S. coming back. Left sideline, Rapinoe. Ertz makes her run. Help there inside. Save was made. It's a beauty by Kang Gae off Morgan, who has scored in 3 straight games.
But right on cue, JP, you're talking about Julie Ertz, and you saw a glimpse of her winning that ball out of Lee Minot, just with strength. I mean, she just pushes her down and then settles play, connects with Rapinoe. Rapinoe takes on 1v1, slips that ball into Morgan, getting in behind those center backs. We saw Alex Morgan score many goals there against New Zealand in the last series.
Up the Rapinoe corner, driving it in near post, headed to the opposite post. Pugh. U.S. keeps possession, sending it right back inside, but no one close enough in red. Tonight's telecast is sponsored by AT&T. 8th minute, scoreless, USA and South Korea. First test for Kang Gae. Only her 8th cap. She has not been the #1 goalkeeper for South Korea, but she is getting this opportunity stateside to make a claim for future minutes.
And I think one thing the U.S. is going to want to key in on tonight is her decision-making coming off that line. Tease her with balls in the box, because in matches that I've seen, it's been a little suspect. Same thing with the player that she's looking to replace, and that's Kim Jung-mi, even though that's probably Kim Jung-mi's role in qualification going forward.
Asian qualifying starts in April in Jordan. 8 teams, top 5 advance, and South Korea is expected to be one of those 5 teams that will advance to France in 2019. Going for Jung So-gi. She'll push it to the back. Jung So-gi losing it there. Casey Short. Stretching was Ernst. Nice move to get around Lee Minot. Moving it wide. Pugh. Help was coming on that right side. O'Hara and Pugh. Ernst keeping it low on the deck, trying to spring Morgan. Kang Gae will stop it.
And what's so nice about what the U.S. did in that last attack was they went from the left flank to the right, and they're spreading out South Korea so then they couldn't attack centrally. That opened up that seam for Alex Morgan to get in on.
Ji So-yeon pushed it low on this right side. Che Yuri was going for it, but it comes all the way back to Alyssa Nair. Ji So-yeon plays for Chelsea, a teammate of Crystal Dunn there. Dunn available for duty tonight off the USA bench. Ji So-yeon is the only player that plays out of the country now. Everyone else plays in the professional league in South Korea. In its 9th season now, that league.
And the support they have is fantastic with that league, but I think some of these players should go abroad and get experience overseas in different systems and styles.
Rapinoe slipped on the turf. Players battling there, and this foul against South Korea. Morgan drawing it, free kick USA. Again, it's Rapinoe over the ball. Talked to us yesterday about being stronger, more time in the gym. That's helped her. 12 goals this season, amazing, and she had minor knee surgery as well.
And she's great at these set pieces as well. I was going to tease the goalkeeper with this.
But up there and headed over. More of a line drive, free kick.
Yeah, but played in that area where the goalkeeper hesitates, doesn't know whether to come or stay. The miscommunication between the back line.
Another USA corner. Help with the near post for South Korea. Rapinoe towards the back post. Ernst is always one of those targets. O'Hara settles, cuts, still has it, fires it. Big save and a big rebound as well. The U.S. gets to that with Short, but she couldn't get through. Well, so far so good for Kang Gae and South Korea, holding their own, at least here defensively.
Well, this pops out nicely for Kelly O'Hara. She beats that first defender. No one closes her, so she takes that opportunity to unleash this one. There's traffic in front of Kang Gae, so she does well to get down to it, but that's a dangerous rebound to give up. Lucky for her, her teammate saved her on that one.
Kang Gae sends it towards the halfway line. on a bounce. It gets into USA territory. But the foul goes against South Korea. "12-minute zeros on the scoreboard. The rematch is Sunday in Cary, North Carolina, and then 2 games against Canada, 1 in Vancouver, 1 in San Jose to close out the calendar year for the USA next month. Rapinoe, entire ball was out on the near sideline. Jung So-gi will have a throw-in. And it's given away. She and the captain, Cho So-young, not on the same page. Ertz trying to split 2. Easier said than done that time. Lee Mina pressured on the ball. That was Andy Sullivan. Good work to force it back.
But also well done by South Korea to solve that pressure, JP. I mean, U.S. was on them. One simple pass into Lee Mina, and then she solves it with that first touch.
South Korea, team in the rise. They did okay at the last World Cup, getting to the round of 16 before they lost to France, beat Spain in that competition. But a good technical side. Ji So-young, one of the better technical players, their all-time leading goal scorer, number 10.
Absolutely, and you said it before, she's the one who plays abroad, so she has that experience piece in different styles. Got to grow into the physical game with their ability to match and compete technically.
At the chest of Morgan, then got a foot high. Recovered nicely. Rapinoe has it after the good work from Sullivan. Cho So-young pushing it to the right, and now the long ball. A short pass ahead. Ball cut by Sullivan. Here's Rapinoe. Finding the open player. Ertz was wide open. No one closing yet. Squaring it towards O'Hara. Pugh's in front. Mallory Pugh on the turn. Firing it. And that's wide of goal. We're speaking earlier about Megan Rapinoe. For more on this veteran player, here's Jenny Taft.
Well, JP, I asked her yesterday, how has your role evolved on this team? And the first thing she said, she joked a little, hey, I am one of the oldest among the group, but that's a good thing because right now, with age comes experience, with age comes confidence in how I'm playing. And she said, look, I needed to get games. That is what's given me the confidence on this team. And there is a vocal leadership aspect. She said, I know I have a lot of responsibility to be an impact on these young players.
And Jenny and Ellie, yesterday, actually yesterday, but also the game before that, Jill Ellis was talking about, she thinks Rapinoe is more dynamic now than she has been in quite some time.
I would agree with that. And when we asked Megan about that, she said it was getting in the gym and working on more explosive fitness. She's always been fit, but now she can have more high-intensity moments in a match. And that's where you're seeing her impact raised to a new level in the league and now with the U.S. team. And I think she just looks stronger. She's not getting bodied off the ball the way she was perhaps after 2015.
Casey Short will have a throw-in for the U.S. But after 15 minutes, it's still scoreless. USA have had a couple of opportunities at goal.
But most of it's been from outside the 18. They're looking for their shot early, which is a good thing. But South Korea will be content if they're taking those shots with numbers behind the ball at the edge of the box.
Rapinoe's throw-in was long and finds its way to Ertz. Delkamper. She and Sauerbrunn have played together now the last several games centrally on that back line. Out for a South Korea throw-in from the far sideline. 60-40 edge in terms of the possession at the moment for the U.S.
And that's all great until, but you got to find the back of the net.
Sullivan knocked away from her. Can South Korea counter? They'll look to get numbers forward. That was well done. They get up quickly. Jung So-gi, Ji So-young, Cho So-young. Down that right flank. Oh, that ball just seemed to die in the turf. And now it goes against South Korea.
And that's one thing you can't predict when it's not grass. It's how the ball is going to react to the surface. Unlucky there for South Korea. It was a nice spell for possession and really pulling the U.S. apart to find that space in behind.
U.S. attacking right sideline. O'Hara cutting it. The turnaround move didn't work that time. The blast from U.S. No rebound this time. Kungae holds on.
And again, a shot from outside the box, but how many times have I seen Sam Mewis line one of these up and have that wrinkle the net? Not on this occasion, but she's so good from distance.
You remember her just getting her debut. Now she's been a regular in the lineup and also in WSL Best 11.
And well deserved. Great season from her.
There, we're looking to put this ball upfield. Plays it short for Dahlkemper.
And a good look at how South Korea is defending with one high and really dropping everyone else in. 4 backs, 5 mids. Content to let the U.S. have the ball in these moments here, but just keeping numbers back.
O'Hara and Mallory Pugh working that right side. Mewis. Had that ball gotten through, the U.S. might have had something going on.
And that's better from the U.S. though in terms of changing the tempo. So you have to do when South Korea is shifting so well defensively, you've got to go up tempo and find those seams sooner.
O'Hara, big switch. Casey Short has Rapinoe with her. Rapinoe looks for the give and go with Morgan. Touch was a bit off from Morgan to Rapinoe, and it's going to be a goal kick for Kungae. '19th minute, zeros on the scoreboard. And the longer this stays at 0-0, the happier South Korea will play. They just wanted to play their game, though, coming in here. They weren't worried as much about the score. They come in as the underdogs, but they just want to play their game.
They want to learn. They want to figure out how they can compete against the best teams in the world, what works, what doesn't, and get the experience of what matches like this take.
Rapinoe for Morgan.
And that's the right attitude, because so many teams will try to come in and get the result and maybe not learn something. They're building right now towards that Asian Cup.
The Dahlkemper pass. Sam Mewis drives it long, and that's going to be a bit too long.
And you can see what the U.S. is trying to do. I mean, they're trying to change the point. Jill Ellis told us yesterday they don't want to get pinned on one side. So you're seeing a lot of diagonal balls from the U.S., but they're just not finding space in those flank areas yet. South Korea is doing a nice job of squeezing the game and shifting.
Jill Ellis told us yesterday they want to play as fast as they can, but with control, looking at players, their freedom of movement, how fast do they move, and also how fast do they think.
And I support that, but I also say players have to know when to slow the tempo down. It can't just all be frenetic, and the team that they're playing is going to shift with that same intensity. You've got to know when to lull them and then when to exploit that moment when they go into a lapse.
Kim Ha-young to the back. Kungae drives this ball. South Korea will find it in the circle. Ji So-young. 10 in the white for South Korea, getting it forward. Che-Yuri, 16 from Lee Mina. Che-Yuri getting to the end line. Can she cross it? She does, but it's swept away. That was Kelly O'Hara who made a big defensive stop there. And now the U.S. will try to break. Morgan upended, and a hard challenge by Shin Dam-young. Che-Yuri back the other way. South Korea playing with some confidence here. Almost. They still have a chance to cross that ball, and it's wide, but they look dangerous in that last sequence.
That's such a good spell by South Korea, and you saw there, that's Lee Mina, who was sitting in the soft spot of the U.S. defense. She's the one who slips in Che-Yuri, and then Kelly O'Hara comes in and cleans up. And this is where South Korea's been vulnerable in the past, is on the break when they've been in their expansive offensive shape, but not with that tackle that left a mark on Alex Morgan.
U.S. back on the ball. Becky Sauerbrunn. Casey Short. Sauerbrunn. Del Kemper. O'Hara. The U.S. bringing some passes together, but now South Korea will put some pressure on the ball. Ertz helping out. Deflected out of play. Still belongs to the U.S.
And the U.S. just not able to overload that zone. They're getting stuck in that right flank. Here they come now, switching it.
Short. Doubled up. Finds Rapinoe. Nice ball. Short and line in front. Kungae had some help again on the clearance. The U.S. Good reaction there. Finding Ertz on the right. Ball played across. Kungae got her feet caught there, it seemed, in the turf. And was bailed out when that ball went wide.
And really end to end. This little combination play is so good by Megan Rapinoe to slip and beat 4 South Korean defenders. The cutback ball gets the deflection from Kungae. And then the U.S. had another good look with the ball whipped in from that right flank.
Another corner for Rapinoe. Third one for the U.S. Driving it near post, and the U.S. scores. Looked like Ertz got that deflection, unless it went in off a South Korean player.
And can we just put this on repeat? Julie Ertz scores at the near post. Just loop it every time she's on the pitch, because this has happened so many times. I mean, that is a brilliant big-time goal to deflect it from that angle, to get down for it. And then that goes through the legs of Kungae, but the ball, the deflection is something that does not happen often unless you're Julie Ertz sitting at that near post.
4 goals now in her last 5 games for Ertz.
Just so good with her head. I mean, JP, I cannot stress how difficult that was to get that not only on frame, but with power and in a spot where the goalkeeper could not make a play on it. Fantastic.
Sullivan turning now for the U.S. They've got the lead after South Korea had threatened to score at the other end. O'Hara. Becky Sauerbrunn. Short. Rapinoe. Sullivan. And that ball goes out, throw-in for South Korea.
And even though Sullivan's pass there goes awry, the tempo change was great by her. It was one touch, brilliant football by the U.S. with Rapinoe, but then Sullivan knew to settle it down a bit because nothing was on this near side.
Here is Sullivan flicking it. Ertz stepped up. Played back by Mina. Shin Yam-yong playing it to the left. Park Cho-ran, and that's going to go out of play.
Good swarming pressure there by the U.S., starting with Alex Morgan hunting down that center back.
Sauerbrunn. Rapinoe. Intercepted. Here's South Korea coming back inside the circle. Ji So-yeon finding the open player. Chae-Yuri, 16 in the white for South Korea. Looking for a give and go. That's Ji So-yeon slipping it through, but it's played back to the feet of Nair. And then pushed forward. Rapinoe. Morgan hit the deck again. Rapinoe finds the second option in Mewis. Several now in the attack in red. Mewis leading the attack. Nobody made that run down the middle.
And here's another look at the brilliant finish by Julie Ertz. You can see where she starts. It's your option whether or not you pick her up early or you body her initially, but no one gets close enough. And then she's at the edge of the 6 when she redirects that on frame, and then the reaction of the bench.
Off the South Korea throw-in. Kim Ha-young. Jung So-gi. So-yeon. Jung So-gi. Captain was under some pressure, and then I thought Rapinoe hit it last. Let's see. Yes, she did. It's a throw in for South Korea.
But look, South Korea is trying to play out of some tight spaces in their defensive third, and that's a risky game against this press of the U.S.
Lee Mina, Yu Younga, 12 in white for South Korea. Into the middle it comes. Cho So-yeon broken up. It was Dahlkemper who made the play. Sullivan looks to advance to Rapinoe. Looked to get a better angle as she brought that ball back. Finds O'Hara on the right. Hughes in front of her, played into the middle. That run was not made. Che-Yuri has options. Needed a better ball, though, to slip it past Dahlkemper. Sauerbrunn. Short. Rapinoe. That was a risky ball back, but Sauerbrunn cleaned it up. It's going to go out of play. South Korea's ball between the benches.
Absolutely a risky ball, but I applaud the U.S.'s effort to try to play out of this pressure. I mean, the one-touch tempo has been very good from the U.S. Left side dominant thus far, though, in their attack. I think Pugh's been involved maybe 1 or 2 times. She needs to start imposing herself on the match a little more.
Pugh had 6 goals and an assist in her rookie professional campaign with Washington Spirit.
And we talk about the potential of Mallory Pugh, but I think now's the time where she can take it to the next level and assert herself throughout the 90 minutes and not just flashes.
Megan Rapinoe to the middle. Slowing it down. Bypassed Sullivan for Short. Casey Short wide. Hooks one up. Headed straight up and over the bar by Morgan.
Such a good ball there by Casey Short. I mean, she only had Alex Morgan 1 target in the box and was able to curl that in.
We're just talking about Mallory Pugh right before that. For more on the teenage sensation, here's Jenny.
Well, and she scored in her senior team debut. That was when she was 17 years old, 8 months, 25 days. I asked her yesterday, she's now 19 years old, do you feel young? And she said, honestly, no. I mean, it's almost been 2 years for Mallory Pugh. You think about her development, and we all know she decided not to go to UCLA to play there, deciding to play professionally. I said, any regrets? She said, not at all. I have learned so much in the last year. She's also going to start taking some online classes, so education's still important to her, but she said no regrets. She's really pleased with the decision she made.
It's good for her, a rising star in this program. An everyday starter, really, for Jill Ellis. So a starter really for club and country now.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of responsibility will be on her shoulders. You would have to think if they qualify for the World Cup.
This is Pugh on the ball. Trying to cut it back against the sea of white. And South Korea will try to play it out of that pressure. That was a rough hit there with player down. Short got the foot up. I believe it's Che-Yuri.
And it looks like the ball just deflects into that solar plex there by Casey Short into Che-Yuri. You're right, JP. Just takes a little time to shake those off.
Right now probably feeling the 20-hour flight and the time difference.
But a good chance for Young Yao to get his team together and try to solve some things. But the U.S. is playing it extremely well.
How have they played South Korea after 30-plus minutes?
I've been impressed with their start. I think I've been more impressed with the way they've shifted defensively to go side to side, because the U.S. is moving them, but they're doing well to keep numbers back and to get pressure on the ball most of the time. And in fact, they mounted a good attack once or twice, but they've got to get on the ball more in their attacking third. How do they do that? Well, sometimes don't be afraid to play it long, to play out of pressure. You don't have to solve it in those tight spaces always. Mix up the way you plan to get at the U.S.
Ji So-young with that throw-in. And they'll give the ball back to the U.S. A show of sportsmanship. Listen there on the ball, playing for Chicago in the NWSL. Dahlkemper. Only goal scored by Julie Ertz. 24th minute. 12th international goal. That's the difference in the game at the moment. Sauerbrunn. U.S. came into this winners of 4 straight. South Korea have won their last 2 games. Toe poked ahead, cut off there. Kim Ha-young. Deflected away. Ball is going to be turned over to South Korea.
And some good touches by Sam Ewis in tight spaces in the early goings here. I think the U.S. needs to get around the edge a few more times. Everything is funneling centrally as they hit that 18.
Deflected away from Alex Morgan. It's a USA throw-in.
I mean, one of the advantages they have on the South Korean side is their height, is their ability in the air. Take advantage of that.
U.S. Ertz. Sauerbrunn. Rapinoe. Foul on South Korea. Cheyuri. And Rapinoe with a quick free kick. Catching South Korea off guard. Dahlkemper long for short. Who deadens it for Rapinoe, but it's cut off.
A good distribution out of the back by Dahlkemper.
Ball out for a throw-in. Still going to belong to the U.S. Casey Short. Short. Sullivan taken away. On that Ertz goal, Rapinoe gets the assist, her 42nd career assist, tied for 10th all-time with my broadcast partner, Ellie Wagner. A little bit of trivia for you from your friends in the truck. Ewis.
Still go way beyond me.
Yep. Sullivan. It's blocked. O'Hara. Driven long by South Korea. Only one player up. May still get to that ball. Battle there with Yu Younga. Nair. It's given away too quickly, but the U.S. does recover with O'Hara. Big switch again. Rapinoe off the chest. Help is coming with Short in the overlap. 36th minute, a 1-goal lead for the U.S. over South Korea. Tucked into Rapinoe. Casey Short trying to go inside. Bumped off the ball by Jung So-gi. Cho So-young loses. Now it's Ji So-young. Yu Younga leaves it. Gets the return. Some nice quick passing there from South Korea. But they lose it in the end. Throw-in coming up here for the U.S. South Korea's ability to play the ball, complete those passes in the tight areas has been impressive in the first 35 minutes.
But the U.S. has been as well. I mean, I think they've been matching them in that regard, and they've been the ones that have been getting their heads up and changing the point and causing those big shifts. That's almost been the difference in the match to me, is the ability to spread the ball about the field and create more time for teammates, like in moments such as this with Kelly O'Hara on it.
Look at that move by O'Hara. May have fouled in the process as that ball was cleared out. Well, for someone that took a pretty good hit in the warm-up, Kelly O'Hara's been buzzing on this field, flying up and down that right side.
when she's been on the ball. You're exactly right, but I think they haven't seen that right side enough, and you can see her pace there just to blow by the defender.
Shin Dam-young is the player she fouled. The 37th minute. O'Hara coming up a good season with Sky Blue. They failed though to make the playoffs, Sky Blue.
But they didn't fail to entertain with Sam Kerr. Oh my.
What a year she had. Was it 17 goals she led the league?
Oh, JP, I should know. They were all pretty, that's the answer.
Fantastic year for club and country. Tucked in, Rapinoe. Morgan blocked. Ji So-yeon picks it up. Waits for the help. It's good control of the ball. Nobody was open. She held it. Cho So-yeon. Che-Yuri. Cho So-yeon again, looking long for Yu Younga. That's blocked. Ji So-yeon, the all-time leading goal scorer, finds Yu Younga. Edge of the box. The Che-Yuri pass was blocked. Settle though. Lee Mina going out wide right. Jung So-gi. Couldn't be two players on that side. And who touched it last? Belongs to South Korea.
And of the matches that I was able to see of South Korea, a lot of their attack came from this right side. With 17, Jung So-gi getting forward.
Jung So-gi will play it back. Cho So-yeon, the captain, too slow on that ball, but Ji So-yeon does pick it up. Shin Yam-young. Kim Ha-young. South Korea has played with confidence this entire first half, especially on the ball.
And you have to think that that's what when they told us yesterday, we want to go out and play the way we've prepared, that's what they talked about. Don't be afraid to go at this U.S. team. Don't be afraid to try to play out of pressure. And you're going to learn in those moments what works and what doesn't.
Rapinoe. South Korea denied her that sideline. Ertz. Only goal of the game came from Julie Ertz. 4 in 5 games now. Mallory Pugh tucking it inside. Ball cut across by O'Hara. Morgan. 2-0. U.S. '78th goal for Alex Morgan. Goals in 4 straight games.
Yeah, but how about the buildup of this? I mean, we talk about partnerships. Well, you've seen it with Rapinoe and Short on the left side, and now you're seeing it with O'Hara and Pugh on that right. Pugh tucks in, and that allows O'Hara to establish the width outside. She comes in, then O'Hara overlaps, get forward, and then Alex Morgan, the touch to settle it. I mean, here she is in a situation where she's back to goal. Kelly O'Hara making that run down that end line, takes that touch to cut it back, but back to goal there by Morgan, and then gets herself faced up, falling away from it, is able to roof that right over Kang Gae at the near post again. Excuse me, that one goes far. All positive for the U.S. in the early goings with the way they're going about this match.
Quality finish from Alex Morgan. Much better than 1 goal for every couple of games. That scoring pace.
And the ability to be somewhat nascent for the first part of the half and then to come to life when called upon is something special that you need out of a striker, and she's showing that ability.
Sauerbrunn. Now it's a 2-0 lead for the U.S. Nothing that the goalkeeper, Kang Gae, could have done without Morgan just put it upstairs on that quick turn. The Mewis pass and a slip there as that ball goes out for a goal kick. Ertz and Morgan, the goal scorers, 24th and 40th minutes. USA leading here in the Superdome.
And Pew started to come to life in this latter stages of this first half.
Ball given away to the U.S. Shin Yam-yong trying to recover, has some help. Park Choran sent it out, throwing U.S. And O'Hara's going to come up to take it. Push back. Played across to Sauerbrunn. 43rd minute. U.S. 2-0 up over South Korea, who will bring it up. Mina dispossessed. Dal Kemper. Pressure on the ball now from South Korea, and too much pressure there. Foul was given. Coming up at halftime, sponsored by AT&T. Jenny and Leslie will have all your first half highlights and analysis, plus they'll dive into the women's game around the globe. A lot of interesting news being made in other countries. Ball is tackled away as Morgan goes after it. On this right sideline, South Korea looking for room. Not much there. Short, and Ertz helped to win it, but it's Ji So-yeon back on the ball. Sent wide by Lee Mina. That's a foul on the U.S. and an injury as well, and Pew's hurting too. So 2 players down, 1 on each side. The other player looks like Han Che-rin.
And this one happened on the recovery effort from Pew. Saw it moments ago with Sullivan doing that work back. I mean, you're seeing the U.S. put in the defensive effort starting at the top of the pitch.
Final minute of the first half, and there's the signal for universal signal for a substitution. So it's more serious maybe than we thought.
And Pew just tracking back. Gets caught up there trying to go in, and then grabs for that hamstring.
Now 6 subs are allowed in the game. We already were told that Andy Sullivan would more than likely play just 45 minutes, but they were not expecting to have to make another change. Lynn Williams is going to be the one coming in. 3 minutes of stoppage time on the board.
And of course, we don't know the nature of the injury to Pew, but you think about Lavelle picking up an injury a few months ago, Pew perhaps now. Those are 2 players that Jill Ellis has wanted to get into the fold, get experience, get minutes, and get up to speed at this level. 2 players that are very important for this U.S. team going forward.
She was just starting, as you mentioned, to get more involved in the game too. Walking off with a little bit of help. Lynn Williams will come in, as we mentioned. Lynn Williams coming off a 9-goal, 5-assist campaign with the North Carolina Courage, runners-up this year in the NWSL Championship. Naturally some concern on the part of Jill Ellis. She's already looking at 2 injuries from the championship game, right? Tobin Heath.
And Taylor Smith.
Taylor Smith.
And you can see the look on her face says it all. It's been a long season for these players, doing double duty between club and country. And that's one of the evolutions that has to occur in the women's game, is the ability to handle both workloads. It happens on the men's side. There's always going to be injuries, but it's learning to navigate the different players' bodies and how they can handle the double duty.
So the U.S. forced to make their first sub with Pugh out and Williams in South Korea. We'll find out who just came out, but it's Ji-Sun Mi who's coming in. 13, replacing Shin Dam-young. Don't know if there was an injury there, but Shin Dam-young was involved in an earlier collision with O'Hara. Hard to imagine that they would make a tactical change right here at the end of the first half instead of just waiting for the second half. Out for a throw-in for the U.S. A little work being done on Mallory Pugh. They'll do a little bit more in the dressing room at halftime. And we're seconds away from halftime. Rapinoe on the ball. Push back to Mewis. U.S. with a 2-0 lead over South Korea. Dahlkemper. Off Ertz. Headed away by the captain, Cho So-young. Short in that battle. Helped to win a throw-in for her team against Che-Yuri. Beyond 3 minutes of stoppage time. 3 was the minimum. Time being put on for the Mallory Pugh injury and substitution. Short. Sullivan. Idea was good. Ball was a bit off target. Intended for Mewis. Ji So-young. Tough ball there. It's collected. Cho So-young. Legs get tangled up. Sullivan is down. Cut up by Ertz.
And look, that's what I mean, JP, for South Korea knowing when they can play out of pressure. That was tight for them there when Andi Sullivan stepped up and won that ball. Looks like her shoe got displaced in that tackle. She's fixing it now, but those are learning moments for South Korea.
Short, taken away. Cut back. Yu Younger left it off. Che-Yuri with the long ball. Han Chae-rin. Help coming on that left side. Han Chae-rin firing it! What a strike from South Korea! They're back in the game. Tremendous goal by Han Chae-rin. Her first international game, her first international goal. Wow.
And so quick. I mean, this was one of the few times they're able to change the point of attack. She gets a little bit of breathing room, turns Abby Dahlkemper inside out, and then just unleashes that with her left peg, striking it up and over Nair, who's off her line, trying to cut down that angle. Can't even get fingertips to it. What a strike.
She is one of 3 players from the collegiate ranks on this roster from South Korea. Over 5 minutes there of stoppage time, but South Korea ends this first half with an exclamation point on that last shot.
And something to build upon. I mean, they told us to watch out for Pak Cho-rong on that left side. Well, it was Han Chae-rin we really should have had our eyes on. Brilliant, brilliant intervention.
So it spoiled what was a very good first half for the U.S., which started on a brilliant goal from Julie Ertz. Jenny and Leslie will take over at halftime, 2-1 USA.